Hey fam, happy Saturday, happy Easter weekend. I wanted to come on here today or this evening to do my review of a movie that I watched that's already on DVD. It came out in 2018, but I guess I missed it. This movie is called Blind Spotting, and it was good. It was so good I felt like I had to do a review on it. So let's get it. Our main actor in this movie, his character is named Colin. The actor's name is David Diggs. He is from Snowpiercer and Wonder, the movie that's called Wonder. So he's an actor, he's a rapper, he's a singer and a songwriter, and he was in the musical Hamilton. All right, then Miles in the movie, he's played by Rafael Casal, and he's from The Away Team and Before the Fire. I haven't heard of these actors until this movie, okay? The next character we have here, her name is Val, and she's played by Janina Gavin. Oh gosh, let me try this. Gavin Carr. Gavin Carr. She's from True Blood, Arrow, The Vampire Diaries, and The L Word. I've definitely seen her face before. I do know her. She's a good actress. Very pretty girl. Then we have the character Ashley, and she is played by Jasmine Cephas Jones. And she's from Monsters and Men, and then Dog Days, and she was also in Hamilton. Okay, so basically, Colin, this movie begins with him being released from prison. He was in jail for 2 years, and basically it's the judge telling him he's going to be on parole for the next year, and basically he's going to live in a halfway house that's a release house, and he has to abide by all the rules there, to finish up his parole. So let me see. Colin and Miles are best friends. They're lifelong best friends, like since they were 10, 11 years old. And this whole movie takes place in Oakland, California. And they're very good at bringing you into Oakland, California. So let me see. Colin did 2 years in prison. And like I said, he gets out to 1 year of parole in the house, halfway house. He always has to be home at 11 o'clock at night. That's his curfew there at the halfway house. Now, very early in this movie, they show Colin and Miles work together at a moving company. So they're like two men in a truck kind of thing. So he had already dropped off Miles at home, and he's headed to his halfway house, and the time is close to 11, so he's trying to get there. And he stopped at this red light, and it seems like it's taking forever. And while he stopped there, you could tell he's thinking about just running that sucker, because we all do it. When it's late at night and you feel like you've been sitting at a light forever, it crosses your mind. Anyway, while he's impatiently waiting for this light to change, this guy comes out of nowhere running down the street, and he stops because Colin had actually started to take off. The light turned green, that's what it was. He started to take off, and that guy came, and he sort of, barely hit him, but he's like shocked, like, what the heck? And the guy stops, and he looks at him, and this look is like of desperation and fear. And Colin is just like, what the heck's going on? So the guy ends up taking off, and then Colin looks, because obviously this guy's being chased, and here comes the cop. Now, that was a black guy who he, had this moment with. And then the cop that's chasing him is a white guy. So they come around his truck. So the guy's running, and he can see in a rearview mirror the guy running, and the cop is telling him to stop. And the guy's like, please don't shoot, please don't shoot. He's screaming it out, but the cop shoots 4 times from the back. I mean, a long distance in between them. Obviously, he was not being threatened. The guy was running away from him. But he shot him, and he killed him. And Colin has a freak out moment. He's in the front seat, and it's a freak out moment, because is this guy going to shoot me now? I know that had to cross his mind, okay? And the cop is, he's breathing because he had been running, and then he turns and looks and sees Colin, and they are staring at each other for quite a minute there. It's like they're taking each other in. That imprint of your face is put to my memory. I'll never forget what you look like, basically. And then the other cop comes, I guess it's his partner with the car, and he stops his car, and he's telling Colin, get out of here, go. So Colin does, what he's told, and he gets back to the release home. Let me see. Okay, so that's it as far as that event goes. I want to say here that Colin and Miles, one thing that you notice about them throughout the movie, like I said, childhood best friends. When they talk to each other, when they're just going on about their business and it's the two of them, they rap to each other. It's like a back and forth thing. It's like, I love rap and I like to rap. I'm not trying to get in the studio and become a rapper. This is just something I do for fun. So they do it quite often, and it's at times how they'll communicate with each other. It's fun and it's real. Another thing I should note here is that when Colin went to prison, Val, who I spoke about earlier, she is, I think, she looks Latina to me. She's very pretty. She left him. She broke up with him. She did not go visit him. She didn't want anything to do with him. She was like, clean her hands of him. However, when he got out of prison, she's a secretary that works at the moving company that they both work at. So basically, she got him the job there, They hire felons. And then Miles has the girlfriend. His girlfriend, I don't know if that's his girlfriend or his wife because they don't explain it, but it's Ashley. So Miles is white, and let me stop on Miles for a second. Miles is white, and he's from Oakland, California. Like, he talks like it. He's hood with it. He wears these temporary grills in the bottom of his mouth. Like, he did a good acting job. I don't even know what else to say. He did it good. So his girlfriend or wife is Ashley, and she's black. She's like really light-skinned. She's like lighter than me. They have a child together. So this little black boy, and they live together, and they seem to be happy, and they're doing their thing. Let me see. Okay, so what they did very well in this movie is they show you the heart of Oakland, California. It's captured well with the neighbors, the stores, the lingo they speak there, as well as the gentrification that's going on there. That is something that's spoke about multiple times in this movie. I'd like to point out, they sell Luckies there. Lucy's, Luckies, Squares is what Miles called it. They sell cigarettes by the single. I don't know, just certain places I've been to, I'm freaked out when they do that because they've never done that here. And then they get into showing why Colin went to prison, basically, and it's... So Colin was a bouncer at a bar, it looks like, and Miles was there too. He's sitting outside. I don't know if Miles works with him or if he's just there visiting him, but for sure Colin works there. And they're sitting outside doing as bouncers do, and this guy from inside the club comes out with this drink. Looks kind of like a pina colada kind of drink, and it's lit on fire. It's like real pretty. And he brought it out of the club, bar, whatever, to show his friends. Now, if you've ever been to a club or a bar, you know that you are not allowed to take drinks outside. They do not allow that. And Colin was telling him, like, you can't bring that drink out here. And he's like, look, dog, I'm just bringing it out here for a second to show my friends. And he's like, and if you lose your job, dog, I'll get you another one. Okay, dog? So he was like, he was racist. He was fucked up in this moment. And Colin is still trying to, look, you can't take this out here. And old boy turns around and pushes the hell out of Colin. And when he does this, it's like some light went off in Colin. I don't know, a switch was hit inside him. And he comes at old boy and pushes him down. And he falls, and his drink falls. And he gets on old boy, and he's going to town on him. He's beating that ass. And Miles decides to get up and go over there. And I think he throws a couple kicks or punches in, which is a bullshit, bogus move to me. Because, hello, a fight is between one-on-one. If you're a sucker, then you jump in. These are rules. Okay, rules of the street. Anyway, this fight continues to go on, and they're beating the crap out of this dude at this point. Like, they definitely got the better of him. But what's crazy is that drink that old boy was holding is still burning. And this burning is going up old boy's leg as he's laying there receiving this beating from Colin and Miles. And he gets burnt pretty bad. And the fire actually comes up on Colin's jacket, which ultimately ends up leading him to stop beating on old boy because he's now on fire. So he has to stop and put this out. And Val had come out and seen this because they were together at that time. She saw the whole thing happen after it started, basically. And that's the entire reason why he went to prison. And one thing I'm going to say here is I respect the fuck out of Val. She loves Colin. That is very obvious. But she was like, he could very well be her soulmate. Let me say that. The way that they interact with each other, even when they hug each other and they continue to need to hold on, they fucking love each other. But she's not here for it. She's not. And she's not willing to waver her life for it. And that takes a strong ass woman to say, no, absolutely not. I will not be a part of this. And I'm willing to hurt myself in the process. I will let your ass go. I respect Val. And one thing that you start to notice throughout this movie is that Miles is a bad, okay, how did I just draw a blank there? He's not a good friend as far as wanting Colin to be in the best situations and do the best things. I'll give you an example. During this movie, there's a part where Colin literally is like, don't tell me, don't show me the gun. We ain't talking about the gun because I'm not guilty by association if I don't know, basically, because he's thinking I'm on parole. And mind you, at this point in the movie, Colin is only on 3 days left of parole. 3 days, okay? After the whole shooting happened, he had 3 days left on parole. Because I was wondering, like, why didn't he go say something? Why didn't he do something to help old boy that was just murdered by a police officer for no fucking reason? Anyway, Miles carries a gun. Okay, I don't even know why he had this gun. I mean, obviously, I guess in certain cities, whatever. But when your best friend is a fucking felon and you know that he's not supposed to be with someone who has a gun, you don't carry the fucking gun. But this fool's right here like, oh, are you talking about this gun? And he makes it like a fun game. And one thing Val points out to Colin during this movie is that you need to let Miles go. Because he's either going to get you put back in jail or he's going to get you killed. One of the two. And he's like, that's my best friend since we were little. He's very defensive. That's his best friend. And okay, fine, whatever. But Val is speaking some truth. She's speaking knowledge. She breaks it down so far to the point where that night when they had the fight, she's like, if the cops would have showed up there when that was going on, she was like, who do you think they would have shot at? You think they would have shot at Miles? These are facts. She can see from the outside looking in exactly certain, and let me say this also, that fight that happened that night at the bar, Miles, through his mouth, Miles has a very good gift of gab. Let me say that. You'll see it throughout this movie. It almost seems like he can talk any woman out of her panties. So he can sell anything. He can speak it into existence with his mouth. But he sort of started that a little, and then he amped it a little with the fight happening. He did. He was definitely at fault for that. And when Val didn't go see him at all when he was locked up, not one time. And that's one thing that Miles is sitting here telling Colin all the time. She didn't even go see you, blah, blah, blah. She didn't see you one time. She didn't go see you. And he's like, I know. I'm the one who was in prison. And she tells him he went to see you out of guilt. Out of guilt for a fight that he started. He spoke that to you. He amped it on, and he didn't go to jail for it. He felt guilty because you were there. So he went to see you all the time, and he put money on your books because it is what it is. So, I don't know, she's the positive voice that was in his ears that a lot of men have. Let me say that. A lot of men do find a woman that is that perfect, not perfect, but a very positive image in their life who can tell them what they shouldn't do, but they don't want to listen. And that's fine. It's your life. Do what you do. There's a part in this movie with that gun that Miles had. He's at home with his wife and his son has to be around 5, 6 years old, maybe 7. Anyway, little guy. And Colin is there also, and Miles' son brings out this shirt. He got him a gift, a shirt that says something about a hipster or whatever, and he goes in the bathroom to try it on, and his girl, Ashley, and Colin end up coming in, complimenting him and clowning him at the same time on this little shirt because it's like, medium size. That's a small shirt on this fool. Anyway, they're clowning him. They're having fun. And they all come out of the bathroom at the same time. And it's like time stops and your heart stops. Because this little boy has his dad's gun. and he's playing, and it's a revolver, you know, the kind with the chamber that you can roll around, a revolver, I think that's what it's called. And he's sitting there and he's doing, you know, he's playing and he's looking and he's doing the chamber thing. And it's like they're all like, put the gun down. They're walking towards him and they're silently telling him. And he stuck the gun up to his head. Like, I couldn't watch, y'all. I was like, oh my God, I can't watch it. Anyway, they were able to walk to this young man and get the gun from him, and his mom immediately picked him up, and she's crying, like tears are running down her face, and she's turning around, and it's like immediate relief, but instant fucking anger. And she's like, is that your gun? She's asking her man Miles, and he's like, no, Colin, because Colin got the gun from the little boy. And she's like, is that your gun, Colin? And Colin is like standing there thinking about it, and Miles is looking at him like, you better fucking say that gun is yours. And he's like, no, it's not my gun. And she's like, you brought that gun in here? She's telling Miles, get the hell out. And she kicks Colin's ass out too. She went in, okay? Rightfully so. Mama Bear showed up to protect her young. That was kind of a critical moment in this movie, because after that, these two fools who are regularly get invited to some party a friend of theirs has, they never go to, co-worker. So they decide to go tonight because they really don't have anything to do. So they go to this party. And when they get there, some shit happens. Miles, there's two other black people at this party. Everybody else is white, so they're like, this is that kind of party, whatever. The other black guy that was there ends up going to the kitchen by himself, and Miles is in the kitchen by himself. And Miles is talking shit about the food that's there, and he's doing his slang. You know, this is how Miles talks. He's like, from the hood. This is how he talks. And oh boy is like, you know, you don't have to speak hood to be here, right? Like, oh boy is leaning in like a lot of us do at times. Whatever. He corrects him, and he ends up leaving the kitchen and going back and telling his friend who is sitting there with Colin, there's some white boy who's completely gentrified, or I'm sorry, a culture vulture, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, I had to check him. No, girl's like, thank you. Somebody had to tell him. And he's like, I'm going to go get the rest of these drinks. I'll be right back. So he goes back into the kitchen, and it's like Miles was waiting for that ass, because he pushed old boy so freaking hard. He like hit the floor and slid. And so Colin runs over and he grabs Miles, and they're leaving. And Colin is like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Blah, blah, blah. And old boy comes out, the black dude that he pushed on the floor, and he's like, white boy. And him and Miles end up going at it, like they're fighting one-on-one, just getting it good, okay? And at one point, Miles is laying down and old boy is beating his face, and he's calling for Colin. And I'm like, is this how y'all normally do things? One-on-one means one-on-one, even if you get your ass beat, okay? That's how I learned it. I don't know what to tell you. Anyway, he's calling Colin, and Colin is not, he's standing there watching this. Why? Because this is a bullshit fight. Why? Because he just today got off of parole. His 3 days have gone by, and he's here. He's a free man. Why would you jeopardize your entire future over some fuck shit? Okay? Why? So anyway, Miles ends up getting up and getting the best of this boy, slamming his head into a car. He beat old boy's ass. And then the guy who owns the house comes out and is telling Miles, and get the fuck out of here. You caused this fight. Get the fuck out of here. And Miles, who has lost his fucking mind, pulls this gun out and starts shooting in the air. And everyone's freaked out at the party. They're running. They're doing their thing. And Colin grabs him and they take off running. And Colin and Miles end up, it looks like behind some, I don't know, some kind of store in the back area, like where the trucks come deliver stuff. Anyway, they have it out. They're going in on each other. It's a full-on argument. And you literally see during this argument, Colin is like, what the fuck are you doing, blah, blah, blah. And Colin, you know, he's black. He's like, nigga this, nigga that. That's what he does. And in response, Miles is like, bruh, oh, bruh. And he's like, no, I want you to fucking say it. And he's like, say what? He's all, say, nigga, this shit ain't right. And he was like, you know, I don't say that shit. And he's like, I've been saying that shit to you forever. And he's like, yeah, you've been saying that. Why would I care? And he's like, but if I say that to you, that's mad disrespectful. And he's like, why is this so disrespectful, but I say it to you? And basically at this point, it's like Miles is like, No one questions you or who you are. He's all, you're the big black guy with the braids. He's like, no one questions who you are or where your mind's at. And he's like, I feel like I have to prove who I am every day. And it's literally them sort of looking at each other's lives and thinking, you got it so fucking good. Colin is thinking, the cops ain't out for you, bro. They ain't trying to bring you down. They ain't trying to kill you daily. Niggas get killed out here every day and no one gives a fuck. And then you got Miles, who's like, the heart of me is this city. I'm hood. This is who I am. I always feel like I have to change how I dress, how I talk, my lifestyle to keep up. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just like, wow, those are choices. You know what I'm saying? That choices that Miles is making. Colin's stuck in a predicament. He didn't choose to be there. Okay, yeah, he fucked up when he got into that fight and ended up in jail. Yeah. But I'm like, the ramifications for shit that you do are far wider and much harsher for a black, much more harsh for a black person in that situation. Let's be real, okay? This movie was excellent, y'all. There's no way I'm going to cover everything that they went over. Ooh, let me go back. Because almost the ending scene there, they go to move this house, and it's a nice house, and it's a woman and her son that are leaving the house at the moment. And she's like, there's a few boxes in the living room that need to be moved. And she's like, my husband's somewhere in there. So she's like, just close the door when you're done. So they go in the house, and they're doing their moving, and they're down to the last box. And Colin had left his jacket in the house. He's like, I'll go get this last box and my jacket. And Miles is like, all right. So he goes in, and he's about to pick up that box, but he notices that the pictures are turned over, you know, on this little, looks like a dresser kind of thing that are, that the box is on. So he turns the family picture over, and he's looking at the guy, and he looks familiar. And then he turns the other one over, and it's the guy in his police uniform. It's the freaking cop that killed the black guy on the street that he made eye contact with for a few moments. It's that guy. And Colin is like, all right. So he goes, it looks like down into the basement area, and you can see the cop standing with his back turned. He's at a bench thing working or thinking. He's just standing there motionless. And Colin is like, you can tell he's thinking, I can't fucking believe this. So the cop turns around, feeling Colin's presence. And it's like it takes him a second. He's looking, and then he realizes who he is as well. And at that moment, he looks right next to Colin where his gun is at. And it's like he wants to go towards it. And Colin pulls the gun out of his pocket because he has the gun from last night from Miles' dumbass. And he's like, no, no, no. And he holds the gun on him. And this was so creatively perfect because I told you before that they would speak to each other through rapping. And Colin is like so pissed and so in his emotions and so just over everything. He steps into this cop with the gun, and he's coming at him, and he starts rapping everything that he's feeling, everything that he's thinking about the cops being racist, about the cops just killing a motherfucker. You come at me, you chop me down like a tree at the knee. I'm like, he gives it so freaking good. This cop is standing there. He's turned red. He's crying. He's scared out of his fucking mind. Colin even grabbed a couple things and broke them on the ground like he's going in. He's coming closer and closer to this cop as he's doing this. And the cop is petrified. Ooh, I wish every fucking police officer who did some fuck shit ended up just like this dude right here. Ended up just like this. I don't know what it takes to turn a fucking racist, sorry-ass piece of shit cop into a good one, but I want to believe that this would be it. Because Colin comes so close to him, and he's so freaked out with rage. He screams, and he's like, the difference between you and me is I'm not a killer. And he turns around and he walks off. Damn, y'all, this movie's good. I'm giving it an 8.5, and I'm saying you're stupid if you don't watch it. Nah, you ain't stupid, but you should give it a watch. It's a good one. Thank you so much for watching. Give me a like if you like my videos and subscribe, okay? Hope you have a great Easter weekend. Bye-bye.